you know? It's actually kind of amazing how much I like to hear that musical tone. If anything, it makes me just a little more annoyed that the Switch puts a game to sleep instead of the system outright turning off. Just another sign that I'm a bit old-fashioned in a number of ways with games. Anyway, we're running through familiar territory again, so it's time for some more fast-forwarding. So, we've got something hidden above us in that hallway. Well, I suppose my complaint earlier in the game that the flashing white bit on the minimap makes things too easy to find is certainly, being proven very effectively wrong now. Right. So we need to be on the other side in order to get that little grapple point removed. Not really sure why, since it's not especially troublesome to get to the other side. But then there are a lot of things in this game that I apparently don't really get. You'd think just by virtue of the sheer number of other Metroids I've done, that would not be the case. Well, I'm still having fun despite my multiple issues, both big and small. Some of which really make me feel guilty for not being an instant expert at this game. But then I wasn't an instant expert with any of the other Metroid games, which I've had more years of experience with. And I didn't feel like as much as an idiot with those games as I do now. It's hard for me to really say if that's my fault or the fault of the game designers. All I know is that the big exposition cutscene we saw before really did a lot to make the story seem pretty interesting. I can't help wishing that information was more spread out across the game instead of one big dump, but nothing we can do about that. All I can really do is try to figure out where we're supposed to go next again. Still not all that worried about the big monster here being electrocuted in the background. Okay, no clue why I went this way. Huh. How did I manage to find that without any hints that there was an item hidden there? Right, back to some unexplored territory. And it immediately leads to areas we've already gone through. Not sure why it's not filled in our map just yet. Yeah. Don't have a clue where to go or what to do next. Very familiar feeling. A feeling that I hope I don't end up feeling when I get to the Metroid Prime games. But I'm pretty sure that's inevitable since any game that requires exploration is going to have moments of me trying to figure out what to do next unless I've done it enough times that it's burned into my memory. Though, I'm pretty sure that once we get to 3D games of this kind of nature, I won't get as outright lost for quite as long. Doesn't really look like we can do much in this area at this point. We just have to choose one of the two entrances to the mostly water zone. would be nice to know just how far off each of those trams is from wherever our next destination is at the other end of this, but again, I'm not in any real hurry. If I end up getting off at the furthest possible point, we could just keep on fast forwarding for a little longer in this clip. Well, at least we gained something by coming this way, even if it looks like we're still in familiar territory. At least according to the map here. Personally, I do not recognize all that much. At most I can say that the backgrounds with fish moving in those tanks look nice. We've kind of seen that before. And blue is a less cliche color to have in the background than a reddish yellow. Does it say something that in video games tundras somehow end up feeling more exotic than fire pits? Okay, so it was a pain to get up here, and there doesn't actually seem to be anything up here. Yeah, that explains at least a little why I kept fast-forwarding. Really wish the map stations in this game felt as informative to me as the maps in the other games, but then with the way I've been reading the map around here, that might not have actually helped all that much. Okay, yet another new enemy type to worry about. This guy is living acid artillery. Well, at least if we're close enough, we can take care of them without using much ammo. Oh, goody! Another puzzle that I can't find it in me to want to bother solving. I thought I was a decent enough puzzle solver. Then I went through the Metroid series and noticed just how many puzzles I just gave up on for one reason or another, and moved on without whatever reward said puzzles could give us. Still, it's not like I ever claimed I was a great player of Metroid games, just that I enjoy them. Why do I get the feeling that tentacle thing means we're gonna have something to worry about relatively soon? I've probably said it before, but it's worth repeating. It's damn satisfying to counter two enemies at once. And while we aren't able to counter the small acid spitters, it's still nice to avoid taking damage as we take them down. Right, seems the only way forward at the moment is going to be the little hole near the menacing-looking tentacle thing. Not the scariest thing in the game, but that's a pretty good indicator that things are going to get tough sometime soon. Not too sure why I feel that's a more intimidatingly worrying sign than the big monster that had various machines poking at it earlier. possibly because we saw the monster get poked at not too long after beating Kraid. But that's been a few clips ago. Whereas this is more recent. Maybe not the best way to judge when you're gonna be in trouble because of something in the background, but it's not like these fights generally have that explicit roar like Kraid did. Okay, that bastard really didn't deserve to do that much damage to us, especially since it's nowhere near the first time we've ever fought against one of those things. Okay, that's an even bigger sign that we've got a boss nearby. Huh. Was expecting the cutscene for the boss to trigger the moment we went through the door. Guess we just had to move a little further for it. Good God, they really were assholish enough to give us an underwater boss fight before we get the gravity suit. Wait, so grazing the big bulb in the center of the room is enough to get us hurt? I thought that part of it was in the background. There's probably a joke in here somewhere that I'm pretty encouraged to shoot at blue balls while trying to tease this monster to actually let itself be vulnerable. But I'm too busy trying to avoid getting absolutely fucked by a tentacle monster in a rather unforgiving game to think of a good one right now. At least I figured out the timing for touching the tentacles. That's a good sign that I'll make it to the next stage of the fight. Okay, so the next stage is continuing the fight without water slowing us down? Apparently, I misjudged what was going on there and didn't take an opportunity that I did not see. I thought the grapple point up there was meant to help us avoid those tentacles, not something that would help us attack the enemy. I suppose the fact that we can dodge the tentacles with just regular, well-timed jumps should have told me otherwise. And dear God, I can't help feeling a bit depressed that we've been this badly mangled on this thing's rather extended first stage. If I have to do a rematch against this thing, I am absolutely going to be doing a lot of fast-forwarding. Taking this thing down is definitely a grind, though given the fact that I don't remember this creature as well as some of the other bosses in this game, I wasn't stalled out by this thing for particularly long, and however long I was practically asleep for. Definitely not one of the more visually impressive fights we've gone through. Of course, visually interesting to see and actually challenged to go through don't always match. Okay, thought there was gonna be something for us to shoot on top, not that we just slide to the other side of the bulb to hit another switch. Okay, so even when it's flopped out and vulnerable, we get injured for grazing against parts of it. And because I didn't manage to counter an attack we've never seen before, I have to drain the water again after a long period of shooting this damn thing. At least Kraid was an interesting gauntlet to go through. This feels just kind of mind-numbing, even if it is still kind of dangerous. Look, we've done this song and dance way too much. Give me a new stage to this goddamn fight. There's just not all that much to say about fighting a big tentacle monster in the water when we have a constant means to heal during it. Because this fight, while amusing when you're actually holding the controls, is not a highlight of the game. The music and action just doesn't compare with everything else at this point. It is kind of a breather, but considering this is Metroid Dread, even the breathers can kill you. Which makes sense since we're trying to breathe underwater. More than a little annoying that we have to remove all the water again. Of all the ways to pad out a boss fight, this just seems... ugh. Bloody hell, and we're gonna have to do it again. Well, that's new. And apparently more difficult to dodge.